Up next, we move from the traditional to a foreigner's interpretation of ramen. So Gaijin means foreigner, which hints at the fact that neither of the owners of Gaijin Ramen Shop are Japanese. Nicole, Mazkour, and Tuvan Pham met 12 years ago while working together for an international contracting firm. They became best friends, sharing this passion for food and traveling. And then they paired Nicole's front-of-the-house experience with Tuvan's cooking skills to open their shop in Cherrydale. I talked with both of them, and you'll hear Nicole explain what it was like to open one of the first brick-and-mortar ramen shops in Arlington.
The Arlington clientele is just more, it's a high-end clientele. These are people who travel, they're educated. So, you have to bring fresh ingredients. You have to cook to impress in a way. And keeping that in mind, we've stuck to that commitment. That's what we knew. I mean, I guess we knew, hey, you serve fresh ingredients, and we felt like the Arlington clientele would come to us.
Did you end up having to educate different customers about what ramen is or what to add in terms of toppings?
Yeah, at first people, kind of expect to have the bowl made for them, but then now they're catching on to the style that we have, this unique style of choose your own ramen and then choose your own toppings. So people can mix and match, and we don't have to tell them what they should eat in it. We let them express themselves through their bowl, and I think as time went on, we've been open for 2.5 years, people have definitely started being comfortable with the setup, being comfortable with, okay, yeah, we'll take, chicken and we'll add an egg to it, we'll add spinach, we'll add the things that we want to eat to it, and now they're happier, more comfortable with that style that we have.
Your menu is almost a fusion of different Asian cuisines. How did you make that decision?
So our menu is really just an amalgamation of things that we love to eat. And it's not strictly any sort of culture. I mean, it is what it is. It's Gaijin. It's different. It's our take on ramen. And so you'll see like bulgogi on the menu, and who doesn't love like thinly sliced marinated beef? I mean, melts in your mouth, good. It's amazing on ramen. So we were like, yeah, we love bulgogi. Let's put it on ramen. I mean, there's more to come. There's just so many different things that we want to put on ramen. And we know that it's coming soon, but yeah, you'll see like
fried ramen as well. Like one day I was like, I put the fried ramen on. Wow, this is good.
Yeah, so we just decided one day to deep fry our ramen, and so now we start putting it on the ramen broth. So we offer it as a topping, so people can add crispy fried ramen. So it adds a little crunch to the ramen. I mean, typically fried chicken really isn't a thing to put on ramen, but we freshly cut white chicken breast, bread it with our own breading, deep fry it, and then cut it up immediately and put it on the ramen. So it's just all this fusion. I mean, we have like pulled pork and things like that are just out of nowhere. It's like American style pulled pork. Yeah. We just decided to pick things that we love.
I think I read that you guys traveled to Japan to learn how to make this. And did you travel to Korea too? Or?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we went to Korea. We learned a lot about kimchi. We actually went to a kimchi festival. In Japan, we went on sort of a ramen excursion, talked to some ramen shop owners and traveled around Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto. Yeah, it was a lot of fun just prepping for the ramen shop.
And then we found that our favorite ramen shop in Kyoto.
Yes. Yeah, we definitely have a favorite. We gravitate more towards the Kyoto style ramen.
What's that?
It's just more unctuous ramen. It's they use a lot of chicken bone broth as well, so it's almost like gritty. The ramen just the bones literally boil down to almost a pulp. All the marrow and the bone, almost from the cooking technique, boils so much that it almost pulverizes the bone. So it's just it's more. It's not like a fish-based ramen that's like a light ramen. It's a more deep ramen, and so that's what we make at our shop.
The ramen broth is what most ramen experts say is the star of the dish. Tuvan grew up in a Vietnamese home making lots of soup with her family. She also worked in a refugee camp kitchen in Thailand where she made soup there as well. This all helped develop the broth making skills she uses at Gaijin.
We have like a pork broth and we bones and apple. With the summer, they have corn. We have corn, onion, ginger. For our veggie ramen, we add cabbage, carrot, and what else? Onion, with ginger as well, garlic, fresh garlic. So everything is fresh ingredient with apple.
So I think a mark of a true ramen shop is the giant, 100-quart pots that we have with the low boilers. And I mean, how you make ramen is you put all those ingredients that Tuvan was talking about and you fill it up with water and you boil it and you watch it and you tend to it and you stir it and you give it all the love and care. And then you have to strain everything out when the ramen broth is done. What goes into ramen, it's those things. It's a giant pot, and we have a few giant pots that we cook the pork and the chicken broth in, and then we have a pretty big pot for veggie, which is increasingly getting more popular, our veggie ramen broth.
How many hours would you say it takes to make a pot of ramen broth?
A lot of hours. It's about 5 hours for the pork broth, which takes a lot longer than the chicken. The chicken takes about 3 hours, and veggie itself will take about 2 sometimes
hours.
3.
But this is with high
heat.
High heat. Yeah. So everything, the nutrition, everything's coming out. From all the ingredients. Yes.
Yeah, and no, just in talking to you, I had no idea that there were so many ingredients. I thought it was just bones. I actually just thought it was bones. And
It's actually, like Nicole said, this outtake on ramen. The
so
broth.
not everyone has all these different ingredients.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the way that I cook my broth, and because the thing is to me it's like ginger give you like during the winter, which is ginger good for your health, and apple and corn and stuff, like fresh ingredients, stuff that I would like to put in my broth and cook it. So that's why everybody's different.
And is the broth for ramen different than pho or like a Korean the Korean bone soup?
Yes.
Okay, so can you just tell, I'm just so curious, because it seems to me it's all the same thing where you're boiling a bone for many hours, but how is it different?
Okay, so pho broth, you boil at low temperature to keep, so the broth is very clear. Whenever you eat pho broth, it's very clear because the temperature is, at the low temperature. For everything come out, the ginger, grilled ginger, grilled onion, and all that stuff. And but ramen, the temperature has to be high. Because then you want because ramen is more like a creamy broth, the collagen from the bone, so the broth has to be always high heat, so everything is coming out. Yes, that's why you see pho broth is clear. The clearer, the better, because it's low heat, and all that stuff. But then yes.
Yeah, and in addition to that too, pho is either beef or chicken, predominantly broth.
Yes.
And whereas ramen, there is ramen made with beef bone, but we don't make any beef bone soups here.
And then pho soup, it's only bone and onion and ginger, 3 ingredients. Start anise and but ramen, in order to have that like a thick soup and all that stuff, you have to have a lot of ingredients. There are more stuff to put in ramen. In our ramen.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
But other styles of ramen maybe have less ingredients.
Yes.
It just depends on who's cooking.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. What are the best sellers on your menu?
We definitely sell a lot of our traditional tonkatsu broth. That's a pork-style broth with black garlic oil. And we sell quite a bit of pork belly buns. Tater takoyaki is also really, really popular.
How did that item come about? Because that's very different. I haven't seen that anywhere else. And maybe you could describe for our listeners what that is.
Yes. Okay, so traditional takoyaki is not what we have. It has nothing to do with what we have. So takoyaki is, they're balls with squid inside. And bonito and Kewpie mayo and other sauces and green onions. Well, we were in Osaka and we were walking around, eating as much takoyaki as we possibly could feed ourselves.
Yes.
And we had the idea at that time we were like, maybe we should do something like this that is inspired by this, and do something weird and crazy, but more like American style. And so we decided to take tater tots and add pulled pork to it, and which is quintessential American food, like pulled pork. I don't know if anything's more American other than a big steak. It's pulled pork. And we mix our own sauces, put the sauce on top, and then green onions. And I guess the combination all together, it's delicious. And yeah, we made it up there on the spot.
Is there anything else you want people to know about ramen? Whether it's about the ingredients or your style? Because I guess to the average person, I'm guessing all ramen's sort of the same. So maybe you can elaborate more on how your ramen is. Your style is different than what differentiates your style of ramen?
Yeah, I love that. I'm so glad you give me a chance to address this because people do think that all ramen is the same in a way, and I want to say that it's not. Literally every ramen shop in this area has a different take on ramen, and that is to be respected and unique in and of itself. There are so many different types and styles of ramen. I mean, just walking through Tokyo alone, every single corner there's a ramen shop, literally, sometimes a few on every corner if they can fit it, and they're all different styles. So I think there's a lot of competition, in this area as far as ramen is supposed to be one way, but it's not. Ramen is from the heart. It's the interpretation of the people who own the place. It's interpretation of the chef. It's the interpretation here of the customer. It's what you want to put on it. So really, ramen is yours. It's however you want it to be and taste, and that's important.
And is it the differentiation of broth, noodles, or ingredients that makes the different style?
Yeah, definitely. It's the broth. It's the blends of the different flavoring oils that we have and the tares that make the broths unique. And it's the noodles for sure. But really, the competition for customers really lies, I believe, in the broth. And the broth is that's what makes the ramen. That's the flavor in your mouth. The noodles are the fun. They're the chew. But the broth is really what speaks. That's what speaks to the diner.
So lastly, I just have to ask, what is comfort food for you? If it's ramen, you can be honest. But if there's something else that kind of just speaks to you.
Well, I have a sweet tooth like crazy, and my comfort food for sure is Tuvan's mom's flan.
No, she was sneaking the back.
All of the staff watch out for me because I'll sneak our flan constantly, and they know when I'm stressed if I'm sitting in a corner eating flan.
Well, my comfort food would be my mom, the Vietnamese pancake, the crab cake.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, she makes the best.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to add any Vietnamese food to the menu? Have y'all thought about doing that since you have Chinese and Korean and Japanese influences?
Hopefully one day.
Honestly, I would say our soupless ramen really does have a flair in a Vietnamese way. So Vietnamese food has a lot of the fresh raw toppings. So if you look at our soupless ramen, we put cucumber in it. I mean, chopped cucumber, fresh cucumber. Yes. It's a very much a Vietnamese style. We also use fried onions. So again, that's a Vietnamese ingredient. So you'll see things here that do reflect different Asian cultures. Yeah, we also use a blend of Vietnamese and Japanese curry. In our curry ramen.
Yes. It's not the straight Japanese.
No,
because the Japanese curry is not give you that kick. That kick. So that's why we mix our own curry here. We did the Vietnamese and the Japanese. To have the Gaijin curry.
Yes. We definitely have a strain, an undercurrent of Vietnamese flavor and that fresh pop of ingredients throughout our menu. Yeah.
Ladies, thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.